I'm going to show you how to 2x your productivity and start getting way more done than you ever had in the past. I'll do this by sharing 8 powerful principles that have helped me unlock higher levels of productivity while working at Ninth Ambition, advising outside companies, and today while growing this channel to 100,000 subscribers. These principles have not only worked for me, but for dozens of clients over the years, so I know they'll work for you. Starting with awareness equals change. There have been more days than I'd like to admit where I've worked 12 hours straight, all day long, and I was busy the entire time, and still finished the day feeling like I made zero progress on moving my business forward. And that feeling was frustrating. One of the worst things as an entrepreneur is realizing you're busy, but your work is not effective. I reached a point where I had to face the truth that I was losing momentum. But here's the great thing, that awareness was a blessing. Because once you recognize something, you know how to manage it. And that kind of clarity is exactly what's needed to make changes. In my last video, 1 year from now, what will really matter? I talked about this exact realization. I'd spent 8 months focused on different things, helping business owners and doing all kinds of busy work. But when the year was over, I looked at my channel here and saw that the one big goal I'd set for myself never happened. That moment was painful, but it also lit a fire. I made the decision to start practicing what I preach, to ruthlessly prioritize, cut out the noise, and map out every single step I needed to hit my goal. No more distractions and no more complacency. A written plan, 365 days, and 100% commitment. Because awareness is only powerful when it becomes the catalyst that moves you to action. That's where the real momentum happens. Which leads me to outcome projection. In 2018, I saw a picture and wondered why my uncle was sitting next to my daughter. A half second later, I realized the guy in the picture was me. I looked unhealthy, heavy, and tired. That image burned into my mind and became the awareness I couldn't ignore. From then on, anytime someone offered me soda or a dessert, I thought about the calories, but I pictured that version of myself. That photo did what no good intention could ever do. It gave me the reason why I needed to make changes. And that's the truth about change. Nothing changes until you decide it has to. You can watch all the self-help videos in the world, but until you have a clear vision of what you want to become, nothing sticks. See, productivity doesn't begin with good intentions. It begins with clarity, a vivid picture of where you're going and why it matters. Without that, your attention gets scattered, and your energy gets hijacked, and your goals fade into history, just like mine did. So ask yourself, what's the outcome you want? Finish school, launch that business, make 10K a month? It always starts with a future you can see and the decision to start, and then do not deviate. For me, I made that decision on January 1st. Earn a YouTube Silver Play button within 1 year. Not just for the award, but for what it would prove. Number 1, as a business consultant, I could show up with real authority. Number 2, and more importantly, my kids would see firsthand that when you commit, plan, and then execute, almost anything is possible. And the outcomes you are seeking can happen faster than you think, especially when you follow the strategies we share right here on this channel. Which takes me to, habits are destiny. One of my favorite quotes is, "Show me your habits, I'll show you your future." Every entrepreneur I've worked with in the past few years has been asked, usually in the first meeting, what their habits are. This allows me to assess their motivation because so much of success comes from good habits. When I know what someone does on a regular basis, I'm able to guide and then predict their future outcomes. I was talking to a business owner who said he goes to the gym every day, even when he doesn't feel like it and even when he's tired. He said it's not about how much he lifts, it's because it's a habit. If he walks in and only does 5 pull-ups and leaves, he's still better off than if he did nothing. See, over time, the small actions compound. The discipline builds identity, and identity drives results. The people who win aren't always the most talented. They're the ones who show up consistently, even when it's hard, because it's a habit. Which takes us to, remember the 3X rule. A couple years ago, I set a goal, get under 200 pounds. So I went all in. No carbs, no sugar, strict discipline. And in the first week, I dropped 5 pounds. It felt amazing, like the goal was already within reach. I got overconfident because then came the plateau. For 2 full weeks, nothing happened. No change, the scale didn't move. And I was really frustrated because I was doing everything right and still seeing 0 results. But then, in week 4, I dropped 8 pounds all at once and I was at my goal. That was a powerful reminder. Most goals take 3x the effort you think they will. And when you start with that mindset, you give yourself the mental endurance to actually finish. See, at 2x effort, you'll definitely see some movement. You'll feel like you're getting close, but that's exactly where people hit a wall and give up. They tell themselves, it's not working, it's too hard, or it's not meant to be. But if you can push through, if you can lean into that 3rd level of effort, that's where achievements happen and where you get the best results. Big goals are hard. Accept that and expect that. Make the decision to keep going, not until you think it should happen, but until it's done. Because when you shift from hoping it'll be easy to, I'll do whatever it takes, that's the mindset that unlocks higher levels of success. And that's how your productivity goes from marginal to something you've never experienced. Which takes us to promote your goal. I always tell people, if you want to be more productive, become more accountable. That's exactly why I made a video about earning a YouTube play button. Not to brag, but to live a principle I believe in and have trained people on for years. When you have a big goal, make it public. In my case, sharing it made me accountable, not just to myself, but to my kids, my clients, and every single subscriber on this channel. Suddenly, it's not a personal ambition, it's a promise. And breaking a promise in public, let me tell you, that lights a fire and keeps you right on track. So, if you really want motivation, surround yourself with people who won't allow you to let yourself down. People who check in, challenge you, and motivate you. Because the truth is, success loves accountability. And accountability starts with the courage to say your goals out loud and promote them publicly, which leads to document the plan. I had a professor at the University of Denver who on the very first day of class made us memorize this: the palest ink is more retentive than the finest memory. What this meant to me was even the faintest written plan is more reliable than the best intentions. So whatever it is you want to accomplish, write it down. You should have a clear, documented plan for every step of what you want to accomplish. When I worked for Mr. Mosher, he required every employee to carry a note card in their pocket. If something needed doing, you wrote it down immediately. That was his way for tracking progress, accountability, and momentum. And it worked. See, every goal needs a plan. Break down the big outcome into daily, weekly, and monthly actions so you always know exactly what to focus on. Group the similar tasks together. Prioritize what matters most and put that plan somewhere visible, on your wall, your computer screen, or somewhere you see it every single day. A written plan becomes your guide, your benchmark, and your motivation when things get tough. Because, like we said, clarity drives action. And when you write something down, you're far more likely to follow through. Which takes me to regulate your energy. Sure, I can grind for hours, but when my energy's low, I'm nowhere near as effective. I'm much better during my peak productivity hours, which is a 3-hour period in the morning. This is when I do my deep thinking work. It allows me to match my hardest work to my highest energy. And when I feel my brain start to slow down, I switch up activities or start moving. I'll go for a walk, hit the gym, or do some push-ups. See, exercise isn't just good for your health, it's a reset button for your brain. Know when to stop and switch to another activity. And protect your energy like it's one of the most valuable currencies, because it is. Remember to feed your mind with things that fuel you and not drain you. If watching the news brings you down, then trade that out with something positive. Because when you manage your energy, along with your time, is when you'll experience new levels of productivity. And finally, kill the pings. Last week I walked into the gym and there's 5 people in there all sitting at different machines. And every single one was staring down at their phone. No one was moving, no exercise, just focused on whatever was on the screen. I thought to myself, as a guy working on a productivity script, that these people are being owned by the ultimate productivity killers, their phones. If you want to 2x your output, ditch the tether, put your phone in a locker, turn off the notifications, and stop checking your inbox every 10 minutes. I know we hear this all the time as entrepreneurs, but it's crazy to me how many people let distractions implode their productivity. And let's not forget about the real world distractions, the neighbor who sees you in the yard and wants to come talk your ear off, or the friend who says, "Got a sec?" but can't talk anything through in less than a half hour. The most successful people know that distractions can wait, but momentum that 3x's your productivity cannot. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You have what it takes to be successful. So, here's your challenge. Pick one area of your life where you want to 3x your productivity. Then follow the steps we've talked about here. And as always, protect your time like the irreplaceable commodity that it is. Because a year from today, you'll either be way ahead or exactly where you are right now. The choice is yours. As always, if there's someone in your life that needs to hear this message, please forward the video. And I recommend you watch this one next. 1 year from now, what will really matter?